Hello everyone, I welcome you to my YouTube channel Professor Civil Mandal. Here I speak about civil engineering and you will find my various video lectures regarding various topics of civil engineering over here.
So, till now we were reading about the different aspects of hydrology like precipitation, evaporation, infiltration, and even we studied about the stream flow measurements and as to how are we going to take the readings of the different discharges, what that are occurring in a river flow. Now, after we have the recording of these discharges, we need to do some analysis as to when is the flood going to occur or not, or is any time when we will get the peak discharge, and as to what time the discharge varies with the as to what extent does the discharge varies with the time. It all actually comes in this hydrograph chapter, which is our next lecture. So speaking about this, in the hydrographs, the definition is like that the hydrograph is a graph showing the rate of flow of discharge versus time past a specific point in a river or channel or conduit carrying flow. So we have a river or a conduit like this. Suppose we have a river or a conduit, something like that, and water is flowing through it, and we are measuring the discharge at this point. Okay, so whatever discharge value we will be getting in meter cube per second, suppose whatever discharge value we will be getting, we will relate it with the time as to like at 0 hour, at the initial time, what is the discharge, something is the discharge. Okay, let's write that this is the discharge column and this is the time column, and something is the discharge at time 0, at time 1 hour, suppose some discharge is there like 2. Okay, at 2 hours let the discharge be 6, at 3 it is like 8, at 4 hour it is like it has somehow dripped down to 5 again, at 5th hour it is like 3. So we can plot something like with time and discharge, we can plot that as to at particular intervals of time what is the discharge at this particular point. So after we have done, we can also say that, so let's read the next definition, that it can also refer to a graph showing the volume of water reaching a particular outfall. So read the second point, that it can also refer to a graph showing the volume of water reaching a particular outfall. So what are we going to do? That we have these discharge values with respect to time, and in the very next step what we are going to do, that we are going to make a graph of discharge versus time. It will be somehow like this, like this is the axis, time is over here, and suppose this is the discharge, and we will have the demarcations like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and like this I will have something like 5, 10, 15, 20. So as we are knowing that it is a plot between the discharge and the time, what we will do, suppose at okay, let's do one thing, this is 0 and this is 1. Okay, at the initial stage let the discharge be 0, there was no discharge, or let us take that the discharge was somehow at this point a very low discharge like 1 or 2, something like that, and somehow some amount of flow is increasing and increasing. So it is somehow increasing from 0 to this point. Suppose at the first hour I am getting the value of 10. So at first hour I am getting the value of 10. So the discharge has increased with respect to time, that is, and in the first hour. In the second hour, I am getting the value, like suppose it is 13. The value is like 13. So at the second hour, I am getting that the discharge is around 13 meter cube per second. So I'll extend this up to here. And in the third hour, I am getting a discharge, suppose, which is around maybe 7. Okay. So again, it is dripping down. And in the fourth hour, we might have something like 2, or it may vary in any way. Like it depends, it totally depends upon the storm or the storm water that is being run off through the river or through the stream or even a conduit. Okay. So coming back to the presentation, let's read the third point, that these graphs are commonly used in design of sewerage, more specifically the design of surface water sewerage system and combined sewers. So sometimes what happens that by analyzing this type of graphs, that as to what time that the discharge can be maximum, the peak discharge, we can do one thing, that we can, when we are going to design some sewerage system for discharge, draining of the excess water, we can have an idea at how much extent or up to how much the discharge can increase, what can be the peak discharge of a particular flood or particular storm that is coming in a city or in a town or whatever, and for how much duration this peak discharge is going to stay. All these factors comes into play, and we get an idea that what should be the maximum width or maximum dimension or the maximum carrying capacity of a particular conduit should be there, or a sewer system should be there, so that it can drain off the water, excess water, whatever is coming to it. Okay, so next we are going to read about the components of the hydrograph. So for that timing, I will make a hydrograph. So for the components of the hydrograph, let's have this particular axis. Let this be the discharge and this be the time. Okay. So the first thing of the graph will be the rising limb. Okay, so as you have seen that I made a parabolic graph. Last time I made a parabolic graph. Few minutes ago I made a parabolic graph, and you can see that it is rising to a certain point, then getting a peak value, it is getting to its saturation point, and then it is again going down. So this is what is known as a hydrograph. It generally looks like a parabolic shape. So I'll make that parabola over here. Okay, so this is my hydrograph. The first component of the hydrograph is the rising limb. Okay, the rising limb of hydrograph, also known as the concentration curve, reflects a prolonged increase in discharge from a catchment area, typically in response to a rainfall event. So as you are seeing the word, that it is written like prolonged increase. Okay, prolonged increase means the increase is continuous. The increase is continuous and in a very rapid rate. Okay, and this is why this is known as a rising limb, because the discharge is rising towards the increasing side. Okay, and it is also known as a concentration curve, which reflects a prolonged increase and in discharge from a catchment area, and it is typically studied in a catchment area in a response to some rainfall event. Suppose some rainfall is occurring in this particular catchment. Suppose this is the catchment. I have the stream like this. These are the streams. Some rainfall is occurring over here. And whenever the rainfall is occurring, what happens? There will be some increased flow in this part of the streams. There will be an increased flow. So the discharge, what the rate of flow, that is the discharge, will be increasing at a certain point when it will be experiencing the storm. As and when storm or rainfall event, as and when the rainfall will be going, this supply of this water from the rainfall, that is the cloud, the supply of this water source will somehow get stopped and we'll see a decrease in the flow. Then we will go towards the downward side. So what happens in rising limb? This is the first part of the hydrograph. Okay, let me show you a picture so that you can easily get it. Okay, yes, this is basically a picture of a hydrograph, and this you can see is the rising limb. This part is the rising limb. Okay, let's get back. So up to this much you can say that it is the rising limb. And of course, what is going to be the next thing? That is the recession or the falling limb. This is the recession or the falling limb. Let's see what is written. The recession limb extends from the peak flow rate onward. So before I go on to the recession limb, I will also go through the peak discharge first. Okay, the peak discharge is the highest point on the hydrograph when the rate of discharge is the greatest. So what happens in the peak discharge is that point where the rate of discharge is highest. So this is my peak discharge. So this is my peak discharge where the rate of flow or the rate of discharge is highest. The discharge is highest in this point. This is the peak. So after that only comes the recession or the falling limb. Recession or the falling limb. The recession limb extends from the peak flow rate onward, the end of storm flow and the return to groundwater derived flow, that is the base flow, is often taken as the point of inflection of the recession limb. So one thing is for sure that somehow, okay, let's not start from here, somehow some part of the hydrograph will always be there. It is always constant. I made a mistake. It never goes to zero or never it starts from zero. Some amount of flow will always be there. As you can see in any stream, some amount of flow is always there. So this is known as the base flow. Okay. So what it is saying, the recession limb extends from the peak flow rate onward, the end of the storm flow and the return to the groundwater derived flow, base flow, is often taken as the point of the inflection of the recession limb. The recession limb represents the withdrawal of water from the storage of basin in earlier phases of the hydrograph. So you can see that the recession limb, the discharge is somehow going downwards, and you can see that the withdrawal process of water is actually starting here. Okay, so of course if the withdrawal process is starting, the water is totally draining out from here, then of course somehow the discharge, the rate of flow will keep on decreasing. Okay, suppose some abundant amount of water was flowing at a certain stage, and at one point it is stopped over here, the abundant flow is not allowed, so the remaining mass which will be traveling out, okay, after that it will somehow drip down, and of course it never goes below this base flow. Base flow is always constant. That is the minimum amount of discharge that is going through a river. Okay, suppose in a stream, if you see at any time when there is no storm, you will see some minimum amount of water is always flowing at a very low rate. So that is our base flow. And whenever some rainfall or storm event occurs, we will see that this discharge of the river is somehow increasing because some more mass of water is coming, more mass of water is being supplied from here. And whenever this keeps on increasing, at a certain point we will have a peak discharge. At a certain point we will have the peak discharge, that is our maximum discharge. And again, as soon as this storm is finished, as soon as the storm is over or the rainfall is over, rainfall event is over, what will happen? This limb, that is the discharge, discharge will be going downwards, and thus it is also known as the recession or falling limb. So this is the recession or the falling limb. There's one more thing which is there that is quite important, that is the lag time. The time interval from the center of mass of rainfall excess to the peak of the resulting hydrograph. It is the time interval from the center of mass of the rainfall excess. The whatever rainfall excess is happening, its center of mass will be taken from that to the peak of the resulting hydrograph. Let's see the figure. So let's look into the figure. Suppose this is a peak rainfall, this is occurring over here, and this is the peak discharge. So one thing shall be noted in this thing, that there is a particular difference between the peak rainfall and the peak discharge. Maybe the rainfall was high at this point. There is also, suppose there is, if I am also plotting one graph for the rainfall, suppose I will plot the rainfall graph with this blue one. Suppose the rainfall started over here, somewhere over here. Okay, and what happens? The rainfall has also somehow similar graph, similar like a parabolic graph. It will increase at a certain point and again it will go down. Okay, somehow the rainfall has occurred like this. Of course, the rainfall has to start fast, then only the discharge will be increasing. First the rainfall has to occur over here, then only the discharge will be added on, and we will get an extra amount or increased amount of discharge over here in the middle of the catchment, where we are actually taking the reading of the discharge. So suppose this is the peak of the rainfall, this is the rainfall graph, and this is where I get the peak of the rainfall at this time, particular time, and this is when I am getting the peak of my discharge, peak discharge. This is the peak rainfall and this is the peak discharge. So you can see that the rainfall has attained its peak value at a certain point already, but the discharge is coming to its peak value somehow later on. Okay, suppose in the first hour only we are getting a very high value of rainfall, but the high value of discharge we are getting it around 3 hours. So this thing you can say that there is a lag. Okay, there is a lag in the system. Like when we are gaming, we sometimes mostly in online games, whatever we sometimes say that there is a lag which is occurring in the game. Okay, like suppose the person who is with me, he has shot one bullet already in a game. Suppose we are playing a shooting game, and that person has already shot one bullet, and I am able to see that bullet 3 or 4 seconds later. So my system is lagging by 3 to 4 seconds. So similarly, the rainfall is already there at its peak value at this particular point, at 1 hour, at the first hour. But in the third hour only I am getting that the discharge is attaining its peak value. So these 2 hours basically it's a lag. It's a lag between what is happening as a peak value for this rainfall. It is somehow attaining the peak value of the discharge at 2 hours later stage. So this 2 hour is known as our lag time. This is our lag time. Okay, next is the time to peak That is the time interval from the start of the resulting hydrograph. The time interval from the start of the resulting hydrograph is the time to peak, and the discharge is the rate of flow, that is the volume per unit time passing a specific location in a river or other channel. So this thing must be noted that this thing is done at a specific location only. Of course, we cannot take the discharge of the whole river at a certain time. The discharge is always taken at one point only. So that thing is that discharge is taken at a specific location. So this is the basic diagram of a hydrograph. You may pause the video and make a note of it. So moving on to our next topic, that is the unit hydrograph. Our next topic is the unit hydrograph, and let's read the definition. The definition says that the amount of runoff resulting from one unit, that is 1 centimeter or 1 millimeter or 1 feet. It's 1 unit. So 1 unit, it will be referred to as either 1 centimeter or 1 millimeter or 1 feet, or even you can say 1 meter, but that is ain't required. Generally we measure the rainfalls and all these things in centimeter or millimeters, 1 feet, etc., or the rainfall excess. So whatever there is, whenever whatever is the rainfall excess rainfall, if we are expressing in terms of 1 unit, okay, that is in 1 centimeter or 1 millimeter, so that is known as our unit hydrograph. Okay, it is essentially a tool for determining the direct runoff response to the rainfall. So basically it's a tool. So how we are going to use it? We are basically going to use it in various problems, which we will be studying in our later stage. And as you can see that it's a tool, it will be a tool for determining the direct runoff. Okay, so basically if I am giving you 1 centimeter or a 1 millimeter hydrograph, that is a 1 unit hydrograph, you can derive it for some 3 centimeter or 5 centimeter hydrograph. That is actually the live case, that is the direct runoff hydrograph. So for a unit hydrograph, we have some basic assumptions. Let us read them quickly. The effective rainfall is uniformly distributed within its duration. So we have to consider that the effective rainfall is uniformly distributed within its duration. The effective rainfall is uniformly distributed over the whole drainage basin. So in respect to the duration, in respect to the time, the effective rainfall is uniformly distributed. It is the first assumption. The second consideration is that over the whole drainage basin, again the effective rainfall is going to be uniformly distributed. Looking at the third point, the base duration of direct runoff hydrograph due to an effective rainfall of unit duration is constant. So the base duration of direct runoff hydrograph due to an effective rainfall of unit duration is constant. So the base duration should always be constant. This is the main thing. Next is the ordinates of direct runoff hydrograph are directly proportional to the amount of direct runoff of each hydrograph. And for a given basin, the runoff hydrograph due to a given period of rainfall reflects all the combined physical characteristics of basin. That is, the runoff hydrograph is time invariant. It doesn't depend on the time. So make a note of this thing, that hydrograph usually consists of a fairly regular portion that changes slowly throughout the year and a rapidly fluctuating component that represents the immediate response to rainfall. So in a hydrograph we generally have one such point which means one part of it is always similar. It's always similar, and that is when we are going to analyze the trend of a particular flood or a particular storm. So it is generally that thing remains to be constant. One part remains to be constant, and the other part makes some part of it will make some rapid fluctuation. That is beyond our estimation. That is beyond our prediction that this might be changing. And the lower slowly changing portion is termed as the base flow, and the rapidly fluctuating component is called the direct runoff. So as I told you that the base flow is the lower part, that thing is always constant. Mostly it will be similar throughout the year, but the rapidly fluctuating part, that is the direct runoff part, the above part, is the main thing which is known as our direct runoff. So coming to the numericals related to hydrograph, so we will be accounted with three types of numericals. First is the derivation of unit hydrograph from a given direct runoff hydrograph or a flood hydrograph. So the direct runoff hydrograph or flood hydrograph, that is the actual discharges that have occurred on the river, it will be given to us, and we have to derive one unit hydrograph from it. This is one type of numerical. Another is the type 2, that is the derivation of direct runoff hydrograph or flood hydrograph from the given unit hydrograph. So one unit in the second type, the unit hydrograph will be given to you, and from there you have to derive the direct runoff hydrograph. And the third thing is the derivation of T hour unit hydrograph from the given D hour unit hydrograph. So one certain hour unit hydrograph will be given to us, and from that we have to derive another hour unit hydrograph. So this is the type 3. Three types of problems we are going to do with unit hydrograph. So let's read the first example, that in a typical 6-hour storm, so the storm was there for 6 hours, a 4 centimeter excess rainfall is occurring. So the rainfall that will be excess will have a layer of 4 centimeter. So 4 centimeter excess rainfall is occurring, and the flow recorded in the catchment as shown below. So the flow is somehow recorded as this. This is the rainfall that is occurring. That is 6. Why is it? It is 6 hour unit 6 hour storm. So we have a time interval of 6 hours over here, and the observed hydrograph is written over here. Okay, so let's read the next line. That is, the flow recorded in the catchment is as shown below, and derive an unit hydrograph of 6 hour storm. So we need to derive an unit hydrograph from the given direct runoff hydrograph. We have to derive an unit hydrograph for 6 hour storm, assuming that the base flow is 100 cubic meter per second. The base flow is given as 100 cubic meter per second. So looking at this thing, one thing is clear, that when the base flow is 100 cubic per meter, sorry, 100 cumex, yes, 100 cubic meter per second, 100 cubic meter per second. So when the base flow is 100 cubic meter per second, one thing is clear, that anything which is greater than 100, any discharge which is greater than 100 will contribute to the direct runoff hydrograph. Okay, so in this given table you can see that 100 in the first two times, that is in 0 and 6, we have a observed hydrograph of 100 and 100. So that means that is the base flow. Okay, all right, we are asked to assume a base flow of 100 cubic meter per second, and that is our base flow. And that's why what we are going to do is that we are not going to consider any direct runoff hydrograph for that two intervals. Okay, Now keep on checking the next one. From 12, 18, 24, 30, we have 300, 700, 1800 and so on up to 66, up to the 66th hour. So this way we can see that what is more than 100 is our direct runoff. So what we are going to do, that we are going to make the table accordingly. We are going to make the table accordingly. So first, what we have in the first section, we have the time. We have the time in hour. Next, we will just make the column accordingly. We have the time. Next, we have the observed hydrograph. That is the observed hydrograph. And these two things are given to us. These two things are actually given to us in the question. And from that, we have to derive the direct runoff hydrograph. And finally, we have to get the ordinates of unit hydrograph, or simply the unit hydrograph. So like in our question, we have 0, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30 and so on up to 66. So from 0 to 66th hour, we have our readings for the discharge, which is given in meter cube per second. This is in meter cube per second. What is there? It is 100, 100 and 100, 100, 300, 700, 1000. We have 300, 700, 1800, 700, 1800 and so on. For the 66th hour, we have back to 100 again. So as we know that the base flow is 100, the base flow is 100. So what we are going to take that, for time 0, observed hydrograph is 100, that is the discharge that we have seen, that is 100. And as our base flow is 100, the direct runoff hydrograph is going to be 0. Okay, I hope you are getting the idea that once the base flow is 100 and also the observed discharge is also 100, so whatever discharge is there, it is totally contributed by the base flow. So there is no role of the direct runoff. So the direct runoff hydrograph will be 0 for this one. Similarly, for the 6th hour, we again have 100 and again the direct runoff hydrograph is going to be 0, as because our base flow is 100 and whole of it is being contributed towards the discharge. Next, in the 12th hour, we have an observed hydrograph of 300. So as we have an observed hydrograph of 300 and our base flow is 100, so our direct runoff hydrograph is going to be 300 minus 100 and that is equal to 200. So here we have some direct runoff because our base flow is 100 and we are getting an observed hydrograph, or the discharge that we have seen is 300. So the direct runoff hydrograph will be the excess rainfall, that is the 300 minus 100, excess runoff, that is the 300 minus 100, that is 200. Similarly, this one will be 700 minus 100, that is 600. This one will be 1000 minus 100, that is 900. This one will be 800 minus 100, that is 700. And similarly, we have the other values also. We can do the same thing for everyone. And finally, at the 66th, we have 100 and it will be again back to 0. So all the values can be noted down like this. Finally, we have the ordinates of the unit hydrograph column. Now you can see in the question that in this typical 6-hour storm 4 centimeter excess rainfall is occurring. So this direct runoff hydrograph is actually for 4 centimeter of excess rainfall. So our unit hydrograph is for 1 centimeter because it is unit. This is going to be 1 centimeter because this is, as we know that unit hydrograph is considered in unity, that is 1 centimeter or 1 millimeter. So the direct runoff hydrograph which we have got for 4 centimeter, the ordinates of unit hydrograph will be for 1 centimeter likewise. So what we are going to do, the values which we have got in this direct runoff hydrograph column, the same values we are going to divide with 4 and write in this fourth column. So I'll do one thing, that this is our first column, that is for time or hour. This is our second column, it is the observed hydrograph. This is our third column, that is direct runoff hydrograph, and this is going to be like, it is 2 minus 100. Right? It is actually 2 minus 100. That is, whatever values we are getting, that will be subtracted by 100, and we are going to write this. And now lastly, we have the fourth column. That is the ordinates of unit hydrograph, and that is actually equal to the third column divided by 4. So as 4 centimeter is the excess rainfall. Okay. So let's do this. 0 divided by 4 is going to be 0. 0 divided by 4 is going to be 0. 200 divided by 4 is going to be 50. 600 divided by 4 is going to be 600 by 4 is going to be 150, right? Sorry, 150. 900 by 4 is going to be 225. 700 by 4 is going to be 175. And similarly, lastly we have 0 over here. So this is our ordinates of unit hydrograph. So just to check the values, I have made one slide which has got all the answers. And look at this slide. These two columns is our first and second column, and the values, these values are actually given in the question, that is this ones, the time and the observed hydrograph, and these are represented in column 1 and 2. And in the column 3 we have the direct runoff hydrograph, where we are actually subtracting 100 from each of the values that are seen in the observed hydrograph. And when we are subtracting each of the values, we are getting the corresponding values and we are noting it down in this third column. And finally, for the fourth column, we are actually dividing it by 4. So see, it is 200 by 4, 50. 600 by 4 is 150. 900 by 4 is 225. 700 by 4 is 175, and so on. So here you can see that the peak discharge that is obtained is 225 for the unit hydrograph. So the peak of the unit hydrograph is 225. This one is our peak. This is the peak of the unit hydrograph. And similarly also this is the peak of our direct runoff hydrograph, as this one is our peak discharge. Okay, so this was all about the first type of problem, where we are given a direct runoff hydrograph, where we are actually given an observed hydrograph, and we can get the direct runoff hydrograph easily from that. From there we are going to calculate the ordinates of unit hydrograph. So this was the first type of numerical that we are actually dealing with when we are studying unit hydrograph. So in the next type of numerical, we are going to derive a direct runoff hydrograph or a flood hydrograph, actually the actual hydrograph which is going to occur from the given unit hydrograph. So in this type of questions, one unit hydrograph will be given to us, and from that we are actually going to get the direct runoff hydrograph or the flood hydrograph, which is actually going to happen. So let's read the question that the ordinance of 3-hour unit hydrograph is given below, and assume the base flow is 15 cubic meter per second. So we are given a base flow of 15 cubic meter per second and derive the direct runoff hydrograph for 2 centimeter, 6 centimeter and 4 centimeter excess rainfall. So these are the ordinance of the 3-hour unit hydrograph given to us. Okay, so I have already written it over here. And we are given a base flow of 15 cubic meter per second. Okay, let's start with it. So first of all, the base flow is not going to matter a lot in this type of numerical, and this thing is given in our question, that is 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 are the time, and the 3-hour unit hydrograph is given here. Okay, fine. So the ordinance of 3-hour unit hydrograph which are given over here, I have written up to 15. We'll be doing the rest later. So the ordinance of the 3-hour unit hydrograph are actually for 1 centimeter. This is actually for 1 centimeter because it is the unit hydrograph. So in the second column, whatever values are given to get the direct runoff hydrograph due to 2 centimeter excess rainfall. So in our question we are asked that derive the direct runoff hydrograph for 2 centimeter, 6 centimeter and 4 centimeter excess rainfall. So we are deriving the 2 centimeter, 6 centimeter and 4 centimeter excess rainfall. So for that, 1 centimeter we have these values. For 2 centimeter, what we are going to do is that we are going to multiply. To get the value is in column 3, we are going to multiply 2 with the values in column 2. So that is how we are going to get the direct runoff hydrograph due to 2 centimeter of excess rainfall. Okay, so let's begin. 0 will be 0, 12 will be 24, 75 will be 150, 132 will be 264, 180 will be 360, 210 will be 420 and so on. We can do it for the rest. Okay. So just we have multiplied 2 with these values so as to get this particular values. Next, DRH due to 6 centimeter excess rainfall. So for this, what we can do simply, either we are going to multiply 6 with column 2 or we can also multiply 3 with column 3. So we can do anything, that is multiply 3 with column 3 because 2 centimeter multiplied by 3 will be 6 centimeter. So again it will be 0. 24 multiplied by 3 will be 72. 150 multiplied by 3 will be 450. 264 multiplied by 3 will be 792. 360 multiplied by 3 will be 1080. 420 multiplied by 3 will be 1260. So simply we are multiplying 3 with all this. So now finally the DRH due to 4 centimeter of excess rainfall, this one will be 2 multiplied with column 2, or you can multiply 4 with column 1, 2 multiplied by column 2, or you can multiply 4 with column 2. So this will be, I am going to write 2 multiplied by column 3. So this is 0, so this is 0, 24 multiplied by 2 will be 48, and 150 multiplied by 2 will be 300, 264 multiplied by 2 will be 528, 360 multiplied by 2 will be 720, and 420 multiplied by 2 will be 800, will be 840. So this is how we are going to get the 4 centimeter direct runoff hydrograph. So simply we have the unit hydrograph. Whatever direct runoff hydrograph is asked to us, we will multiply. Okay, that is the thing which we are going to do. Now if someone asks you to derive what is the observed runoff, then what you are going to do, that you are going to add 15, that is our base flow. As we know that the base flow is given in the question to be 15. If someone asks you to derive some another column, let us make it. I am just erasing this one. We'll get the answers in the next slide. If someone asks you that to find the observed discharge, so for that we have the base flow 15. What we are going to do, we are going to add 15 to, suppose observed discharge for 6 centimeter excess rainfall. Okay, 6 centimeter is our excess rainfall, and we are going to plot the observed discharge table. So we have the base flow of 15, so it is 0. So the observed discharge will be the whatever discharge we are getting due to direct runoff plus the discharge we are getting due to the base flow, that is 15. So it will be 0 plus 15, that is 15. 0 plus 15 will be 15. 72 plus 15 will be 87. 450 plus 15 will be 465. 792 plus 15 will be 807. 1080 plus 15 will be 1095. And similarly 1260 plus 15 will be 1275. So this is actually the observed discharge for, if the had been, it was said that the 6 centimeter is the excess rainfall and we need to find the observed discharge for that, and then we could say that this is our observed discharge by what we are doing, that we are getting the direct runoff hydrograph for 6 centimeter of excess rainfall, and then we are adding the base flows to it so as to get the observed discharge, because the observed discharge is actually the summation of the base flow and the excess rainfall, the direct runoff due to the excess rainfall. So this was all about the, okay, let's see the results first. Results will be somehow like this. That these are all given in our question. This time and ordinates of 3-hour unit hydrograph, and in the third column you see that DRH due to 2 centimeter excess rainfall, it is multiplied by 2. Simply the values are multiplied by 2 from the column 2. Okay, so similarly for 6 centimeter of excess rainfall it is multiplied by 3, and for 4 centimeter of excess rainfall it is multiplied by the third column is multiplied by 2, or you can multiply 4 directly with the first column. Next, the second slide shows the rest of the values. You can note the answers by pausing the video. Okay, so The last type is the derivation of TR unit hydrograph from the given DR unit hydrograph. So suppose some 2-hour unit hydrograph is given, and with the help of it we are asked to find an 8-hour unit hydrograph. Okay, so this is the thing which we are going to learn. This is the third type of numerical related to the unit hydrographs. So what is written, that if unit hydrograph of specified unit hydrograph is available, then we can derive any other duration unit hydrograph by using superposition techniques. So simply by using superposition techniques we are going to make it or derive any other duration hydrograph by using this superposition techniques. That's it. So we are given a numerical that the ordinates of 3-hour unit hydrograph is given below. Okay, so as usual it's quite similar like the previous question, and these are the ordinates of the unit hydrograph for a 3-hour unit hydrograph, and assuming the base flow as 15 cubic meter per second, derive the 9-hour unit hydrograph. So we are given basically a 3-hour unit hydrograph, and for that we are asked to find the 9-hour unit hydrograph. Okay, so before these are the ordinates, and before we are going to proceed for the numerical, let's read the steps what we are going to do. First thing, we have to see the given duration and required duration. So the given duration of unit hydrograph is 3 hour and the required duration is 9 hour. So that is 9 is the integral multiple of 3. So we have an advantage over here that 9 is the integral multiple of 3. Thus superposition technique is applicable. Otherwise we cannot do it. So being the multiple only we are able to do this thing, because if it is not the multiple, of course the process will be difficult for us. When we learn the technique, you will see that the process will be actually difficult for us, or it's actually impossible if it is not the integral multiple. So thus we will use the superposition technique over here, and if we add 3-hour unit hydrograph by 3 times, that is we get 9-hour unit hydrograph. Very simple mathematics. You add 3-hour unit hydrograph 3 times, you will get the 9-hour unit hydrograph. And add this lagged unit hydrograph, that is column 6, this will give us the direct runoff hydrograph of 3 cm ER. So one thing is that we cannot directly add the hydrographs one after one. We will have to lag each hydrograph by the next 3-hour duration, so that we can get the final DRH of the 3 cm ER. And of course it will be a 3 cm ER, because we are adding 3 unit hydrographs, 1 cm, 1 cm and 1 cm for each of it. So it will finally become a 3 cm excess rainfall, and again we have to finally divide the last column by 3, so that we again get the unit hydrograph. Okay, so let's get into the problem. So we have the time and the 3-hour unit hydrograph ordinates over here, written over here. I have written up to 15. We will solve the later on next in the next time. For the timing we are going to do all this. Okay, so this is given in our question 0, 0, 3, 12, 6, 75, and these are the time and these are our ordinates of 3-hour unit hydrograph. So firstly what we are going to do, we are going to lag it by 3 hours. Okay, for the next 3-hour unit hydrograph, the second 3-hour unit hydrograph, we are going to lag it by 3 hours. So we cannot directly do that. So what we do in generally, we lag it by 3 hours. Okay, so that we can consider it separately. So we will write the same coordinates here again, just by lagging it with 3 hours. That is 0, 12, 75, 132 and 180. So these are the 3-hour lagged unit hydrograph. Okay, next, now we are lagging it by 6 hours, so it will be lagged by another 3 hours. So we will start from here, that is 0, 12, 75, sorry,
75, 132. Okay, let's leave it. Next, for the next part, DRH due to the sum of 3-hour unit hydrograph, that is the 3 centimeter excess rainfall. Okay, so basically the next column will be the sum of all this. Okay, so first we have 0, in the next we have 12 plus 0, and we have no values over here. 12 plus 0 is again 12, and next is 75 plus 12 plus 0 is equal to 87. Next we have 132 plus 75 plus 12, that is equal to 219. Next, 180 plus 132 plus 75 is equal to 387. Next, 210 plus 180 plus 132 is equal to 522. And we can similarly do it for the next values also. So now, finally, the ordinates of the 9-hour unit hydrograph will be obtained by dividing it with 3, right? Because this is actually a 3 centimeter excess rainfall. 1 centimeter from here, 1 centimeter from here, and 1 centimeter from here. We are actually adding all these unit hydrographs. Okay, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter. But when we are adding 3 such unit hydrographs, okay, so we are actually getting 3 centimeter of excess rainfall over here. So let by 3 hours, 3 hour plus let by 6 hour, 6 plus 3, 9 hours. So total ordinates of 9-hour unit hydrograph can be derived over here. And next, finally, what we are going to do, we are also going to divide it by 3, because a unit hydrograph shall be for 1 centimeter, but when we have added, it is for 3 centimeter. So when we are going to divide it, the ordinates of the 9-hour unit hydrograph is going to be like this: 0, 4, and 87 divided by 3 will be 29. This will be 73, and next it will be 129, and then 522 divided by 3 will be 174. So this was up to here. Okay, these are our ordinates of the 9-hour unit hydrograph. Okay, our next step is that we will consider next values again now. Yes. Since we did up to 15, we will resume from 18. It will be 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 33, 36. Okay. And the corresponding values are 183, 156, 156, 3, 156, 135, 144. It's just the next part of the table beyond 15. 3, 156, 135, 144. Next we have 96, 87, 66. 96, 87, 66. Okay, let's do for this one. So lagging it by 3 hours. Previously, what values we had missed for 12 and 15 will be coming over here. That is, for 18, the lag by 3 hour hydrograph will be equal to 210. We start from 210. You have the question? We will start from 210. Next, we will go to 183 and we will write the values simultaneously. 183, 156, 135, 144, 96, 87. Okay. So next, by lagging it by 6 hours, it will be lagging it by 6 hours. It will be 180, 210, 183, 156, 135, 144, 96. Okay, let's add it. Let's add it, and adding it, it will give you 573, 549, 549, 474, 435, 375, 327, finally 249. Okay, so next we have to divide it by 3 so as to get the ordinates of 9-hour unit hydrograph. And to divide it by 3, it will be 573 divided by 1. 3 is equal to 191. Next, 549 divided by 3 is equal to 183. 474 divided by 3 is equal to 158. Next, 435 divided by 3 will be equal to 145. Okay. 375 divided by 3 will be equal to 125. 327 divided by 3 will be equal to 109. And 249 divided by 3 will be equal to 83. So you can see that this is the peak value 573, and thus the maximum value, that is the 191, is the maximum value of the 9-hour unit hydrograph. Okay, so I am not going to write the rest of it because I have already got the peak value, that is 191, and this is actually all about the third type of numericals, where one type of 1-hour unit hydrograph will be given and another hour unit hydrograph you have to find. Like suppose 2-hour unit hydrograph will be given to you, you have to find 8 hour. Here we did that 3-hour unit hydrograph was given to us and we found out the 9-hour unit hydrograph. So this was all about the unit hydrographs, and I hope you liked my video. Please do not hesitate to write any kinds of doubt in the comment section. I'll be very happy to answer them all. And also please like, share this video and subscribe to my channel if you are new. Thank you.